Welcome to the Football Garbage Time NFL podcast. My name is Wong, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Football Garbage Time. And with me is our guest co-host. It is the co-creator and co-host of Hi Everybody, a Bad Medicine podcast, as well as a rabid Chicago Bears fan and just a cool guy. It's Dr. Jackson Vane. What's up?
Hi,
How you doing, Jackson?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me. Excited about the season.
I'm super excited. I mean, we've been excited for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Every year we go through this series of drinking all the Kool-Aid.
Oh,
basically, there's no Kool-Aid left. I think that we actually said those words. There is no Kool-Aid
Indeed.
left between the two of us.
It's like off-season champions. What now for preseason champions for 3 years straight?
Yeah, seriously.
Year, the Packers tried to steal it by getting Micah Parsons.
Yes, that's right. But we still win. We still win. If only there was a trophy for that, right? If there's like a ribbon or a trophy for that, I would buy that shirt.
The inverted version of the Lombardi trophy, just like put the football below and then put the pyramid on top. That would work.
Exactly. And speaking of Kool-Aid Man, because we've talked about this a little bit pre-show, but like he's insane. Like the Kool-Aid Man is totally insane. I had no idea that he actually had his own Marvel comic at one point.
I mean,
where he fought the Thirsties. That's crazy.
He has a real name.
Yeah, like, I know.
E.T. Kool-Aid. Like
who knew? Who knew?
I'm not going to use his God-given or his given name. I'm just going to use the one that I know him by, which is the Kool-Aid Man, who just busts in and just ruins everything.
Right. I mean, and it's gonna, and then we talked about this too. Like, I always wondered why the Kool-Aid Man just didn't use the door. Is it just because he's just too wide?
No, he's too excited. He's too excited to share his love of Kool-Aid to everybody. And I think that is the problem for us, is that now we have all overdosed on Kool-Aid.
That's true. That's true. And then we've definitely overdosed on Kool-Aid for sure. And there is zero Kool-Aid left. So we're going to enter the season, and we have a very special episode of the podcast this week where we will talk about our views on some of the things that will impact the Chicago Bears in the upcoming season, including the importance of the Bears rookies and what impact they might have this season, what we expect the offense will be like under new head coach Ben Johnson, who we're just ridiculously excited about, and the most important games to watch in the regular season. And of course, we will predict Monday Night Football with the Minnesota Vikings. So let's go ahead and get this rolling. Hey, Jackson, let's go ahead and talk to you first about, let's talk about first the Bears rookies, because that's the really important aspect of growing this team. Is where are we going in the future with this? We obviously are building off of Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze in their second years and others, but we had a great rookie class come in. As you say, we are off-season kings every off-season. What Bears rookies are you watching, and what type of impact you expect out of them this season?
I mean, we can't start go anywhere without starting off with the first round pick, which is Colston Loveland.
Of course.
Tight end, Michigan. That hurts my wife so much because she is a big Ohio State person, but
it hurts everyone. Any sane person is hurt by that, right?
Yeah, sorry, Michigan people, but he's been just like phenomenal. He does fit that Laporta mold, right? Like that's what Ben Johnson's used to in Detroit. He's already looks like he has good chemistry with Caleb. I was really surprised they didn't take Tyler Warren at first. Because I think that's what both of us were thinking. Like, if they're going to get a tight end, especially if it's best pick available at that time, I really thought it was Tyler Warden. But just seeing how Colston kind of fits in the mold, he's not the best blocker, but he looks way more mobile than Komet, and I think that's going to pay off quite a bit for the schemes, especially if he goes 12 personnel. That's going to help.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I love that, and he has he's not been the largest producing tight end, but he's definitely one of the most reliable tight ends out there, and he's averaging over the course of his career at Michigan 12.5 yards per catch. And he's just a reliable target. He's a guy who can get out there, get open. He's definitely a terrific different play in 12 team personnel with Cole Kmet. So I think there's a lot of potential there for a breakout with someone like Colston Loveland. I drank the Kool-Aid on him, right? Because I, like you, we're thinking Tyler Warren all along, and then we get this pivot, and our hatred for Michigan had to be overcome first. But now I'm kind of in. I'm like I'm part of the cult here.
I will say, like, even seeing him on that first drive against, I believe it was Buffalo, he looked really, really good. Like, it seemed like the chemistry was there. It meshed really well, and it actually played out the way I thought it would play out. And of course, it went right to Komet next too. So if we are playing two tight ends, that's going to look really, really good.
Right. I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. And I think that, there's a lot of things that we can do and that Ben Johnson has done with two tight end sets. He actually very famously used a lot of two tight end sets when he was in Detroit and obviously was very, very successful there. So let's get to your second rookie that you think might have an impact here. Again, the same one that I think will also have an impact. So why don't you go talk about him first?
I mean, I agree. I think this was a little bit of a steal at second round for Luther Burden the third.
Agree.
He made a really big impression during the preseason. I think it was like the goal line drive where he just laid down a really big block, and it kind of fits with Ben Johnson's mentality of no block, no rock, right?
Right.
He's also got that speed. He's probably going to be the wide receiver number 3, I think.
Yep.
So I think he's probably gonna, but he has like that feeling like he's gonna be like Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? Like again,
I hope so.
Really hard to compare or not to compare the Detroit Lions to the Bears, but with Ben Johnson there, it's really gonna be something that we're gonna look at.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason why he slipped a little bit in the draft is that his production was a little bit down in his 2024 season. In 2023, 1,212 yards on 86 receptions. He was down to 676 on 61 receptions, one less game, obviously,
His
and he had some injuries.
also sucked. So
yeah, his quarterback also, and I was gonna say you can only catch what somebody can throw to you. I think Giselle famously said in the game in which the Patriots lost to the Eagles in the Super Bowl, you can't throw and catch the ball, right? You got to do one or the other. And if you don't have both, you're not going to be able to win any games. And so, yeah, that's obviously part of the problem. But I agree. I think this is a steal for the second round, and he's going to have a great opportunity here. I mean, I love DJ Moore. I think Rome Odunze is the future. I think he's demonstrated that he's going to be that guy. He obviously has a really great connection with Caleb Williams at this point. But I think Luther Burden, fantastic add to rookie level there. And then the third guy that we want to talk about is, I'll kick it over to you.
I did not see this coming. Like the 7th round pick is usually like the biggest lottery ticket of all lottery tickets, right? Like you don't know. Kyle guy, fantastic. I'm surprised he's probably RB3, but he might even be like the backup running back if Roshan doesn't make it for week 1.
But yeah, I think he's going to have some injury. I think he's not going to play because of the injury. So, I mean, he has a great opportunity right off the bat.
Because I think Roshan's not even practicing right now. So that puts it even more suspect that he's probably not going to make it for Monday. He's like a more physical Swift, I think. So he might be a better goal line guy in general. He looked really good in the preseason. He blocked really, really well. And I think he's got the power more, but he is a tiny dude. So he might be like, he's
but tiny only relatively speaking, because like if you look at him compared to Jamal Williams, so famously Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift, then in Detroit with Ben Johnson at the helm, Jamal Williams 212 pounds, Kyle Monangai 211 pounds, Kyle Monangai 4'6", 40, Jamal Williams a 4'5", 40. Kyle Monangai had a 1.62 10-yard split, Jamal Williams a 1.60 10-yard split. Kyle Monangai famously 0 fumbles in college. Jamal Williams 0 fumbles in his first 4 NFL seasons. There is a very clear parallel here. There's a reason why he was selected 7th in the the 7th round, and I think it's because they knew that DeAndre Swift isn't an every down back, which is fine, right? And he knows how to get the most out of him, and this might be the way to do it.
Yeah, and I will say like Swift, I feel like will be a little bit more of a factor this year in comparison to last year, only because the O-line's going to be better, so they can actually create a path for him to go.
Right.
I mean, it's still early to say how the O-line's going to perform in the regular season. I mean, we haven't even seen them perform in real life yet.
Right, exactly.
But I'm excited to see what happens. But Kamanunga, like a sleeper, so much more of a sleeper hit than anything. Seventh round. We'll see what he does.
Yeah, and it's almost like, and he made the 50-man roster, so obviously people were very impressed with what he did. So I mean, I think this is a great opportunity for him, and particularly Roshan Johnson, I think, who was kind of lined up to be that guy. And in college, Kyle Monangai also had some really, if you look at his college stats over the last 2 years, he's averaged 5.1 yards per carry. That's pretty significant in Big Ten competition, right? So he wasn't playing, secondary schools or anything. He's playing all the big boys out there. And I think there's a lot of room for him to grow into this role, because DeAndre Swift obviously works best, in my opinion, more as a change of pace, kind of maybe in third down back. And then a bruiser going between the tackles like that common guy can, even though he's not a big dude.
And I will say Swift almost acts like a fifth receiver or fourth receiver in general during a play.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I think
absolutely. I can
that's what he
imagine
does
like you
now.
can play both. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
this is be really, really big. And Ben Johnson loves that, right? I mean, I think there's a great opportunity for him to grow into it.
It's a Sonic and
So
Knuckles kind of deal.
yeah.
Again, so many comparisons to the Lions, and it's making me very upset, but it's hard not to. It really is. It's
Who would have thought, right, that we would be excited to compare ourselves to the Detroit Lions? I mean, like, if you go back, like, 10 years, you'd be like, "Are you insane?"
I
It's like,
know.
I mean, what are you doing?
This upsets me quite a bit right now that we're like comparing ourselves to the gold standard of the NFC North for 2025, the Detroit Lions. Like, come on. I would never say
And what really upsets me also, NFC North, incredibly challenging, right? I mean, like, this is
yeah,
going to be a ridiculously challenging division to play in because of the fact that we have the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, who now
who
have Micah Parsons,
yeah.
and they have Matthew Golden, who they drafted in the first round, who I think was going to be really good, unfortunately for them, because they never had a real true number one over there with Jordan Love.
Well, it's the
And
first
then,
time they picked a position player in the first round for years,
yeah,
and they picked
yeah. Because they hated Aaron Rodgers, right? They said, "Listen, we got to get
who
you out of here."
who doesn't? I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's like it took him that long to figure it out that he's a
Yeah,
complete jerk. Come on,
yeah.
I
We
mean,
we all could have told you that. There's a reason why his family doesn't talk to him,
yeah,
and I will say that forever.
right. And it has nothing to do with his brother being on that reality show.
Bachelor.
Yeah, it's The Bachelor.
That's how we learned it.
All right, so let's talk about what we have in terms of expectations for Ben Johnson this season, because obviously this is a very different offense
It
than we
is.
have seen in the Bears. And it's interesting because last year we obviously drank the Kool-Aid and thought that the Bears were going to be amazing.
Oh, man.
Think there
We
were some
wasted our
coaching issues.
we wasted our good hard knocks on him. Like,
Yeah,
seriously.
we did. We
Can you
did. I
imagine
was going to say the
can
same
you
thing.
yeah, could you imagine if we saw, like, hard knocks this year? It would have been I mean, I say this in the nicest way, but Ben Johnson's a psychopath. Like, he's crazy. He
Right.
looks so serious. There was a story that just came out recently. Like, he played a clip from UFC, I think 239, where I think it's Ben Askren knees a guy in the head and just played it on repeat before the Dolphins train practice. And it's like, this is what I want. And that's the kind of craziness that he is. He's like not happy with anything less than like absolute perfection and rage. So
Right.
I wish I saw that instead of Caleb Williams learning how to slide to end a play and then using his foot
Right.
for hard knocks. That was
Yeah, and our
so upsetting.
that was I agree. That was it is a real bummer because I watched all those hard knocks and I thought, wow, this is going to be the pinnacle of all things, and it ended up being not
Oh,
great. And not only this that, but the season not great. So that's no fun.
I mean,
But last year we've had some serious issues. I mean, we put up 5,000 yards per game, but we actually allowed 5,000 yards per game. Oh my God, what am I talking about? 5,300 total offensive yards last year, but we
yeah,
allowed 6,277
yeah,
offense yards on defense. It's not great, right? And
no,
we only average a piddly 18.2 yards, 18.2 points per game, while
which
allowing
is horrible.
21.8. Yeah,
Yeah,
not great. I
I
mean, it's
mean,
just
the coaching was
it's
so suspect. Like, I
yeah,
think it was very telling. Like Shane Waldron didn't have a plan. Um, he basically just told Caleb to go out there and do whatever, right? And
right,
he never really had a plan. And then made history for the franchise being the first coaches fired mid-season. So
right, right.
we were all praying and rooting for it to happen, and thinking it's never going to happen because the Bears have morals, quote unquote, and standards that they will never let go of a coach in the middle of the season, and they finally did it. The most brutal thing, and I'll never forget that day, they let Eberflus do a press conference, and then they fired
Mhm.
him after the press conference, which is
Right.
cold blood, like the meanest way to
That
do it.
is Yeah, that is absolutely that is kind of mean. And of course, you got to think about the fact that last year we also did not have an offensive line there to protect Caleb. He took 68 sacks, most in the NFL. And that obviously impacted his ability to get the ball down the field. He only averaged 6.3 yards per pass attempt. That's pretty. You're not going to win many games
Oh,
throwing it 6.3 yards down the field.
oh, and you can tell when he wasn't getting enough protection because he would launch it and just like the deep ball wasn't there either. And I think those are the
Right,
big concerning things that I hope get addressed this year with Ben. Um,
right.
but yeah, but we have to set our expectations like appropriately, right? Like I don't. Do you think it's going to be like a drastic change right off the bat, or do you think it's going to be something mid-season?
Well, I think I don't think it's going to be drastic per se, but I think we're
Mhm.
going to see more. I mean, I'm hoping that we're going to see more
Yeah,
discipline from our offense and more
yeah,
discipline from our defense because, I don't want this to turn overnight, but, compared our 18.2 points per game to Detroit's 33.2 points per game last year. And you can
what's an
see that there's
average?
a pretty wide variance
Yeah, indeed.
between, performance Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff of all people. I mean, give me a break. Jared
Yeah,
Goff of all people is now a superstar out there. He even got a call out from Taylor Swift, right? So I mean, this is obviously, he how is this possible? But he last year averaged 8.6 yards per pass attempt. That's like full 2 yards more than Caleb
yeah,
averaged last year. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. And he took on half the number of sacks, 33 as compared to 68 for
which is
Caleb. So do I think it's going to be drastically different? No, but I do think there's going to be significant changes and we're going to be a much more consistent team. That's what
yeah.
I'm expecting to get out of that first game.
And I think and you bring up a good point about Goff. Like Goff was sent to the Lions almost like a pariah, right, from the
Oh,
Rams,
totally.
and he wasn't great overnight. They fired the initial offense coordinator, I believe, midway through the season, and
Right.
then Johnson took over in 2021, and he then looked better in 2022. So it took time. Like he was not like an instant change, but then the potential was there, and he looks so much better now with this coaching from Johnson. So I'm hoping that's what we see.
Right, which means that we got to temper our expectations for this year.
Correct.
But I do think that all the significant upgrades along the offensive line, including
Yeah.
Drew Dahlman and Jonah Jackson and Joe Tunney, I mean that's huge, right? I mean such a huge step forward, and it was a great statement move right off the gate to say we believe in Caleb and we want to make sure that he gets protected because obviously, I mean, listen, Tom Brady. I can say this now because he's out of the league. He probably was the GOAT during that 20-year period.
I
But
won't say.
it wasn't just him, it was
Yeah.
an offensive line, and it clearly is
Yeah.
not Bill Belichick because he
Oh my
sucks
god.
now.
The UNC. Oh my god. He got blown out. It's
Oh,
just
that UNC game was so upset. It was, like, so embarrassing for him,
that's
I
elder abuse. That is
yeah.
elder abuse. That should not be allowed.
No, no, I mean, but that being said, like, going back to Tom Brady, the reason why he was successful is not only because he could dissect defenses, but because he had a great offensive line, probably the
Yeah.
best in the NFL
Yeah.
during most of his tenure of the New England Patriots. And that makes a huge difference in terms of growth potential,
Yeah.
because if you have time to dissect defenses, you will get better at that.
Yeah.
And clearly, that's what he did because when he
Yeah.
left and he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he brought that with him. And I think that's something that we can see in Caleb. It may not be in game one, it may not be even this season, but I would expect he would just continue to get better throughout the regular season. Which brings us to the next question, which is the game that we are looking forward to and that we think is most impactful for the Bears, or the games, I should say, because there's definitely more than one this regular season. There's so many, but I'm going to let you start.
I mean, as a Bears fan, there's really two games that are always circled on the calendar. It's the Packers games, right? Like
Right.
the
Right.
rivalry continues forever. I would like Caleb to continue his undefeated streak in Lambeau.
Yeah.
The Bears are also still undefeated in 2025, so I will still
That's
hold on
right.
to that to this time.
Right.
We'll see what happens come Monday, though. But the other thing is, speaking of Monday, like I wouldn't put too much stock in the opener. It can make or some people are like, oh, it's gonna make or break the season. It's gonna show how good Caleb is or not. I don't think it's gonna be that drastic. I would love
Right.
to win that game
Right.
as a tone setter, but even if they lose in a close game, I'm not gonna be that disheartened by it.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. I mean, it's going to be a tough challenge, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Minnesota Vikings and how they match up with the Chicago Bears when we predict the game. But after week one, you got the Detroit Lions on at
Yeah.
two, and that's already that's what we're calling the gold standard in NFC North. And the Cowboys did look competent, although
Yes.
vulnerable on defense. So
Okay.
there's that. And we could be 2-2 going into the bye week. And
And I
that's
think that is an acceptable record to go into that
right.
very, very early bye week. Like I'm
Right.
shocked that they gave a bye week at week 5.
Yeah, I agree. Particularly the extended NFL season that we have now, it's not going
Agreed.
to be good for the rest of the season.
Oh, it
But
does not.
if we end up going 1-3 though, and losing to the Cowboys or the Raiders, I really do think there's going to be some retuning required as they get
Agreed.
into the bye week.
The
It's a little
Raiders
bit too
should
early.
be a winnable game. That
Yeah,
should be the winnable game out of all of it, but we'll
right.
see what happens.
Yeah, I
Um,
totally agree.
And then the other important game, the Commanders, just because I'm sick of the comparisons between Daniels and Williams in general,
Right.
just because of that one game that legitimately broke the team last year with the Hail Mary. Like you can see the team never fully recovered after that Hail Mary pass that should have been batted down, but for some reason got batted up and just ruined everything.
I know, it broke the team. It
Yeah.
literally broke the team. It broke me too. It broke
Yeah.
both of us. It broke all of
Yeah.
us.
I screamed at a bar so loud and just like threw everything away and just like go, this is the dumbest game ever. I'll see you all next week.
That's
It
right.
was
That's right. I hated I hated all of football for at least a
oh,
good half hour after we ended that game.
oh yeah. I think there has never been so much rage at the bar I've seen at a bar after a football game than that one. And all the players were so upset. It was like the gathering too. It was like the local gathering of all the San Diego and Chicago Bears fans in the
Yeah.
bar at that point. And the air was just left the room at that point. It was so
Yeah.
upsetting.
I mean, how I fully expected that we're gonna walk away with a W there. So
Yeah,
that
same.
was clearly the
Caleb was doing like led a game-winning drive, and then
yeah.
just the team just crapped all over it. It was so
Yeah.
upsetting. Yeah.
It would have been all positives had it had not for the
Oh yeah,
ending of that game. You
absolutely.
know,
That would have
it
set
was
the tone for the whole team, but it's a blessing in disguise
yeah,
because
sure.
I think that's what kicked everything off in motion to get us a new coach, new offensive line, and everything. Otherwise, we would
Which we wanted from the beginning. So that I
yeah,
think
because
we're
otherwise we've been like, oh, you know what? The team's actually not that bad. If we finish like 8-8 or so, or 8-9,
right. Right.
everyone
Right.
would be like, oh, we can still keep this coach. I think it was a
Right.
blessing in disguise.
Yeah, because we don't want to be stuck in that situation with mediocre coaching because that clearly can kill teams as we've seen all over the place, you know. And I don't want to be the next. I mean, to be honest, I don't want to be the next Jets. I don't want to be the team
No,
that drafts high quarterbacks and then they go off and be successful elsewhere because we break them because we
yeah,
do such a crap job. I just don't.
yeah,
And already Justin Fields may be the first of that lineage if he actually is successful in New York.
I
But
know.
I don't want to be that team. So let's
No,
save Caleb here.
yeah, agreed. I would like to re-sign a starting quarterback to a second contract. I have not seen
Yeah.
that in like 10 years.
Right.
Actually, the only quarterback we've re-signed in the past 10 years is Bajan, which is
Oh,
insane.
that's right. He was crying when he
Yeah.
announced that. He was I mean obviously I'm a big fan of Bajan. He's not the guy who's going to lead the team to victory,
No,
but he's a
but
great
he's great.
backup quarterback,
He's a
you
great
know.
backup quarterback for sure.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So he could definitely pull that off. I would say that, you know, clearly the matchup with the Minnesota Vikings is a big one because of the
Yeah.
fact that JJ McCarthy will be
Yeah.
there getting a start. And we talked about this pre-show that it's really just shocking that people think that he's just going to be better for some reason than
I think
Caleb Williams without
I think
zero snaps in the regular season.
yeah, and I think it's part of just because they're all in the same class, right? Now everyone
Mm,
I think it's really cool to talk down about Caleb Williams and compare him to literally every other quarterback that was drafted in his class. Um,
right, right,
so
right.
I think that's a big part of it too. So they're like, "Oh, it's like that Family Guy skit. Do you want this quarterback or do you want the box? It could be anything. It could be this quarterback,
Right.
right?" And I think
Right,
that's what we're
exactly.
playing with right now. We're playing with a mystery,
Yeah,
but the mystery seems more alluring than what we know right now. So
I totally agree.
I think that's a big reason why everyone has hitched their wagon to the Vikings for this game.
Yeah,
Plus
I
everyone
agree.
thinks
But
Kevin O'Connell's great, but that's fine.
yeah, and it'd be interesting. I mean, like when you look at the Vikings, and we'll get to this in a second, but I don't think they look explosive. I mean, I have no
No,
idea what they look like right at this point, right? I mean,
no,
we saw what he could look like with Sam Darnold. This is going to be completely different. So you know, we'll see what happens. I don't think Adam Thielen coming back to them is going to change anything either. So
no.
that's total retread city. I will tell you the one game I'm looking forward to though that I think will be impactful in some way is Week 12 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, assuming Aaron
Yes,
Rodgers is still starting for the Steelers at that point.
his hip
Which I'm
suffer.
hoping he's not, but like if he is, I just want him to just like perish in flames. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
he's gonna. They're playing in Chicago, so I just don't want to have another like I own you
yeah.
thing, and you know I just don't
That's
want that. You know?
that is my biggest fear too, is Aaron Rodgers coming back to Chicago and just being Aaron Rodgers
Yeah,
of old.
yeah,
I
exactly. I mean
I
he.
want the Aaron Rodgers of Brett Favre retirement night where he just got crushed over and over. That's what I wanna
Exactly.
see. I want his
That's what we
spirit
want.
to be broken. Yes.
Well, we'll see what happens there. All right, let's get to our last topic of the day, and that is the Minnesota Vikings game coming up on Monday Night Football. Great place to start in prime
Yeah,
time in Chicago at Soldier Field. What do you think here? Because I mean, Vikings, obviously, we already talked a little bit about it,
yeah,
and I'm a little bit concerned about what we have, but I also have a little bit of confidence that we've ticked all the boxes that we needed to tick. But this is the first game, right? This is the
yeah,
first game with this, with everything, with this coach, with this offensive line, with the current reversion of this defense.
yeah,
There's a lot of big question marks here. And as you mentioned, this is almost a toss-up game. Minnesota by 1.5 on the
yeah,
spread. Total over under is 43.5. So it is a
yeah,
close game, and it looks to be a low scoring game. What do you
yeah.
think here? What does it depend on, and what are you going to predict?
I mean, I think it's a coin flip too. It's all going to depend on whether or not Caleb actually balls out and gets those deep passes and just is able to read everything and not hold on to the ball for quite a while. But then also the
Right.
defense, it's still a big question mark. Like they didn't look super great in the preseason either.
I
I guess
agree.
it's all a matter of Dennis Allen can really retune it and then really make them the defensive juggernaut that he's known to do. I mean, that's why he became a head coach so many times is because of his defense. So I'm
Right.
hoping
Right.
that's the case for this one, but I think it's probably going to be a pretty close. I actually predicted Bears 24, Vikings 20
Okay.
before even seeing
That's
the
fair.
over under. So I think that's probably where the score is going to be, which is actually just barely over.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would love that. I think that's a really, really good place to land. I think that's the right score to kind of target. I am a little bit worried about Minnesota in terms of Jonathan Greenard. He actually did provide he really, really hassled Caleb Williams last year. 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 3 quarterback hits in just 2 games. And I'm curious to see how this revamped offensive line will
Yeah.
protect him because I don't, you might recall years ago when Sam Darnold played for the Jets and he got hit so many times, he said he was seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
And he was broken after that, right? Until he left the team and then was unbroken. But I
Yeah.
think that's what I don't want to have, right? I don't want that to happen. He's already probably got PTSD from last year from getting hit so often. And this is a guy that was in his face continuously over those last 2 games. This is the time to step up and change it. And if our offseason acquisitions are going to make an impact, this is where we'll see it, right? We're going to
Agree.
have to, that matchup is going to be really, really important. Whether
Yeah.
that addition of Tunney and Jackson and Dahlman actually do provide the protection he needs from somebody like Greenard.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's that, but also the other players. Again, going by the Ben Johnson motto, "No block, no rock." I feel like
Yeah.
they've all bought into it, and I think if we see more of that protecting of the quarterback, but also getting open so that the quarterback can do something, it's going to be a very different team this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so I'm being optimistic. I think we will win. I picked them to win.
Yeah,
But I agree with the very, very narrow victory there. I think it will be a little bit more of a defensive battle. I think, JJ McCarthy, his first ever start in the NFL, is not going to go crazy. They're not going to dial up a bunch of downfield shots to Justin Jefferson, but they will give him an opportunity to do that.
yep,
So I do think it's going to be pretty conservative. And Aaron Jones is, I mean, he's kind of retread at this point. So I'm
yeah,
not really super concerned there, although I am concerned about our defense and how that will stand up. So there's a number of huge question marks on both sides, offense and defense, and on both sides, Minnesota and Chicago. So
agreed.
it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but I'm going to be really positive about it and say that they'll pull it out anyway.
I hope so too. I think.
And then I'll text you how much I hate being a Bears fan right afterwards.
I mean, probably we'll do the same thing if that happens again. But
Right. Well,
optimistic.
the same "I want to die" meme that we've been passing
Oh,
back and
I
forth
will.
for like
I will send
4
that
years.
all. Yeah, but optimism. Gotta stay positive. I
Right.
can't be negative about the season yet. We were
Oh,
it's
I
too early.
know. You can't be negative yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Not
All
yet.
right.
No.
Let's hit the air horn on the show. That's all we got today. All right, Jackson, why don't you give us your social media so people can follow you?
Sure. I'm at Jackson Vane, as you can see down in the lower left corner, on all the socials, and then you can find us, or if you want to listen to our podcast, Hi Everybody MD at .com or at all the socials as well.
Oh yeah, and everybody should definitely check out Jackson and the podcast. That is a magnificent podcast. It's
Thanks.
number one on my playlist every single time. I listen to it more than I listen to my own, Jackson. And
I
it's like
appreciate that a
it's
lot.
fantastic. It's so good. It's so good, you guys. So subscribe. But anyway, you can find me on X/Twitter at FB Garbage Time. You can find me on Blue Sky at the same handle. You can find me at Football Garbage Time webpage on Facebook. And as usual, thank you for listening and wasting time with us. Until next time, enjoy your NFL week and enjoy Jackson's podcast.
Thanks so much, guys.
Go Bears!
Bear down.